News Radio.
Are you ready for a new experience? To see life from another point of view? New hope, new expression, new joy. This is your radio hour. Welcome to Viewpoint with Father John.
And welcome, friends. You're tuned to NBC Radio, KCAA, 1050 AM, 102.3 FM, 106.5 FM, or you can listen from anywhere in the world at kcaaradio.com. This is Viewpoint with Father John. I am your host, Father John Reed. By the way, you can follow us on both Instagram and Facebook. Just put Viewpoint with Father John in the search and you will find us. Also, we are now on Twitter. Just go to Father John Reed, that's R-E-I-D, the proper Irish spelling. Anything less is a cheap imitation. And you can follow us there and have a great time with us. And I do get your emails and stuff, so thank you. I've been getting some really great ones from last week, so I really appreciate you taking the time to write to me. And if you do miss an episode, we're on YouTube. So go to YouTube, in the search bar, put Viewpoint with Father John, KCAA, and you can see the entire last 3 years of episodes. All of God's children are endowed with extraordinary purpose and ability. I'm on a quest to help as many as possible in fully realizing their divinely inspired potential. Disposing of false narrative and embracing genuineness helps to bring the clarity of your purpose. My role is to help overcome self-imposed limitations in realizing one's spiritual potential. And folks, as I do each week, I want to tell you about my favorite pharmacy, Claremont Pharmacy in Claremont, California, on the corner of Indian Hill Boulevard and Arrow Highway. This establishment is owned by Dr. Nikki Ho, and she takes care of all my pharmaceutical needs. And I'll tell you what, I've never been in such good shape as when she took over all my prescriptions. She's just really good people. And if you want a really good haircut, where do you go? You go to Uppercuts over in Pomona on Foothill and Town Avenue. They're the ones that make me look so handsome. I wish they could do something about the face, but the hair looks great. Go in there, see my friend Sam. He's the one who cuts my hair. He's a little vertically challenged, but that's okay. He steps on a couple of books and he can get as tall as your hair is. So he's just, and if you want something taller, get Leo to do it. But it's a great place. It's a good old-fashioned barbershop where the guys can go and just hang out and just have a good old time. And, it's a great place. I also want to tell you about my friend Glenn Kirshner on Justice Matters. Now, this is not a paid advertisement. Glenn Kirshner is a friend of mine who was a federal prosecutor for 30 years. He was also a JAG lawyer, a prosecutor, United States Army, a fellow Army guy. And if you want straight information, that's the guy to go. And if you really like what he does, you can do what I do, which is to help support it through Patreon. And as you can see on the back of my computer, I have the Justice Matters, or Team Justice sticker, because I support all this. And so this is something I'm really involved with. I really believe in it because justice does matter. And so you'll like my friend, Prosecutor Glenn Kirshner. I just promoted him. You better send me some money for that. So tonight, my guest is a good friend and a friend of yours. You've heard her a few times on this show, which is Martha Bass, who is the co-author of Love Heals and also does Love Heals coaching. And she also has some new projects going on, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But Martha, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. Thank you again for having me on the show.
Always a joy to have you.
Yes, always a pleasure.
So tell us what's new. What's going on?
Well, I'm excited to be here because I've been working on this new project for the last 6 months, which it's called a Badass and Gorgeous Club for Women.
Oh, okay. I thought it was for guys when you said that. Okay.
I know, right? No,
part.
It's for women.
I had to send Frank over there.
It's a place to grow and a place to glow. I want the women to have the opportunity to grow and glow, and that it's, creating a safe space for us where we feel comfortable sharing without judgment.
What a perfect time for that, because you think of, we've been locked down all this time. And by the way, folks, I got my vaccination last Saturday, and I scored the J&J. I had the one and done. So. Oh,
you did?
Yeah, Gabby hooked me up.
You got to let me know where you got that one.
In my arm. Anyhow, But what I was going to say is that coming out of the COVID, there's a lot of new discovery that has to take place because a lot of people have dealt with depression, a lot of overeating, a lot of over drinking and such from the
Yeah.
COVID. And so, and I'm sorry I cut you off of that, but it just struck me that what a perfect time for this when people are trying to find out who they really are again.
And you know what brought actually this? It's because during this pandemic, and like you said, we are closed, and a lot. It reminded me when I came here from the States, right, from Mexico to the States, when my dad was kidnapped and murdered.
Right.
And I came here when I was 15, and I found myself in a total different country, right,
Yes.
which I did not speak the language. I was grieving my father, and I did not understood then what was grieving about, right? I had
Right.
no understanding of what that was about. And this year reminded me of that. It's like, wow, that's what we're going through with something it's unknown, and most of us are afraid of the unknown.
Yes,
Right?
absolutely.
And we find ourselves facing this pandemic, and we were happy without even knowing because we were able to go to the store, we were able to go to see a friend, and we weren't even like comprehended that that was the freedom, and now we don't have it anymore. So that's when I realized I truly want to help women understand and have the tools of what to do when we are facing something like that, when there's something unknown that we don't know, like, my God, we don't have the family, we can go out, we can do the normal things, and that's the time to really go within and discover what to do next. It's just amazing.
I think people are going to be discovering that they have new fears that they didn't know they had before.
Truly.
And the symptom of that is going to be them being angry. Anger is a secondary emotion, not a primary. It's always the result, almost always the result of fear.
Fear, yes.
And it keeps us from having to look at the fear. And on a temporary basis, that's okay. But if it stays there, a lot of bad things happen to the body. It's how some people wind up with certain forms of cancer. I'm not blaming the victim of cancer with that. I'm just saying it helps that happen.
Absolutely.
Graves' disease, which is where your adrenaline kicks on, the thyroid doesn't know how to act right, and your body actually eats itself apart.
Yes, all those emotions create the disease.
Right. So you can't just think your way out of it.
Or pretend that it's
Pretend.
not there. That is a big key.
And so when you have things that you could put before you that you can say, okay, I can do this. This gives me control over something in my life. And now you're getting into the solution, not just running from the problem with either food or drinks or
Yes.
drugs or whatever.
Yeah, and me coming from, because food has always been, I love food. I love food. So when I had my addiction issue with, because I wanted to lose weight,
Yeah.
and that took me to, to the addiction, and I realized we can't heal that. Right? So what did I do? I ate and ate and ate, and that's not it. So we got to take care of the root. We have to take care of the actual problem. And that's why I'm creating this. And I'm creating this program under Love Heals. It's called Badass just because when I was growing up, my father used to call me chingona, which is the translation of badass.
Oh, okay.
And he always told me that I was able to do whatever I wanted to do, right? I never believed it. Obviously, that's why I went through so many struggles. And I want to share those tools with everyone. I want the women to understand that we truly are capable
Right.
of transforming, of creating a shift, or, going and achieving what we want.
Right.
Because I believe that we are raised thinking that, we have to be so sweet, or, because we're girls and we gotta sit and write. And I mean, it's like, no, it's okay to speak up. It's okay to say enough. It's okay to say, this is what I want.
Well, that's the new environment we're trying to create because one of the cultures in America that hasn't worked was the idea, they used to say the children are to be seen but not heard. The women should know where their place is, barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen,
That's right, yeah.
and, and it doesn't work.
No.
And that's why a lot of women would take to the cooking sherry, would take to the diet pills and stuff, because they're trying to fix what hurts inside.
Yeah, and we don't know how.
And now we're changing the culture. We're trying to change the culture where women have a voice they should have had the whole time. And we're recognizing as the full I mean, think about this. The progression in this country alone. At one time, blacks were not allowed to vote. And then they were able to vote, but only as 3/4 of a man. And then the women couldn't vote at all.
Yes.
And then just 100 years ago, the women.
Just 100 years ago.
And do you know why they got the vote? Because they stood up. And they said, enough. You know, either we vote or the only thing colder than your dinner will be your bed, you know.
And you don't want that either.
That's right. But they started standing up. And there was a big deal, you know, in England. And this is some important history to know. A man was within his rights to beat his wife if she spoke back to him. It's awful. Now remember, this is where the first white Americans came from Europe. That's how it was there. So bringing that over here, first Americans were Native Americans. And we haven't made too great a progress since then. We've made some, but we have a long way to go.
Oh, we do, yeah.
And what does that have to do with what you're talking about? Everything. Because what you're talking about is discovering the real self, the self that deserves to speak up and be heard.
And why do we do the things that we know we shouldn't?
Right.
I've been in an abusive relationship, and I was there for 2 years, and I said, like, wow. I mean, I stayed there for 2 years.
I'm glad you got out.
Yeah.
Many don't.
That's right. So it's like, you know, and I really want to reach out, and I want as a whole, I want us to be in a safe place. And that's why I'm going to have, it's going to be, you know, by Zoom. We're going to have classes, but we're also going to have live classes where they will be able to ask questions and have the answer. And like I say again, to have a safe place where we're going to be able to grow and glow without being judged. And that's why I want women only. Nothing against men, but I want us to feel comfortable enough to go out there and...
You know, there are times that women just need to be with women and men just need to be with men. Now, you know, the pendulum swings one way and then the other. So right now it's swinging so that they're not saying that anybody, you know, nobody needs their tribe, so to speak. Yeah, we do. You know, I talk about that barbershop. One of the reasons I go there is...
Because there's no women?
It's just the guys. We can say things that are really stupid, and it's okay, because we do that when we get together. And women could talk about what women want to talk about with just amongst themselves.
And you know, one of my goals also...
And it's healthy.
Yes, I want women to feel pretty. I think it's important. I don't believe that we feel pretty enough. I was watching the documentary of Tina Turner, the new one that she came out with, and she was saying, I had so many doubts. She was already a successful singer, and she always told herself, who's going to love me if I have this kind of body? And everybody loved her body. I mean, she had the greatest legs, and she thought that she had an awful body. So we as women have that self-doubt all the time, thinking that we're not good enough.
Well, Oprah Winfrey, when she worked so hard to lose all that weight, and that wasn't right for her body. And she found out when she accepted who she really was, and this is after she had billions of dollars, so you can't buy...
No.
By gathering money, you can't make that happen. And she wound up having self-acceptance, and she really looked beautiful. Didn't matter the body size. She looked beautiful because it started from within. And if I'm hearing you correctly, that's what you're talking about. This starting from the end and then letting it manifest to the outside. Would that be a correct statement?
Absolutely, because why do we allow ourselves to be mistreated or even by ourselves? Because we don't believe that we're worth it, because we don't believe that we're pretty enough, because we always want more. No, we got to feel it inside. We want to express it. We want to explode the beautifulness that we are.
Well, speaking of exploding, Frank looks like he's going to explode there in
Again?
the booth if I don't go to commercial. So you're listening to Viewpoint with Father John, and our guest this evening is Martha Bass, and we'll be back in 90 seconds.
The loss of a loved one is one of the most challenging experiences in a person's life. It's hard to know where to turn to make your loved one's final arrangements. Jesse Ruiz at Personal Funeral Planning in Ontario will treat you and your loved one with the respect you deserve. Jesse served in the Marine Corps in Desert Storm and understands what it takes to provide loyal, personalized, and empathetic service to those who need it most. The families of Michael Jackson, Brittany Murphy, Ed McMahon, and many others have trusted Jesse to provide them with the highest level of service and support. To work with Jesse, call 909-762-4027, 909-762-4027, or visit their website, www.4pfp.org, www.4pfp as in personalfuneralplanning.org. Jesse Ruiz and Personal Funeral Planning, veteran-owned and operated, helping you plan a personal, lasting tribute for your loved one. www.4pfp.org.
Yard House Restaurant of Temecula takes this special time to salute the Temecula men and women in uniform who've answered the call for our freedoms. Let's give them the hero's welcome they deserve as they have fought hard to restore peace around the world. American troops are our angels of protection, so stand up and salute them proudly. That's from Yard House Restaurant in Temecula, where they say service isn't just a courtesy, it's a commitment. Call 951-296-3116 for Yard House Restaurant of Temecula at 40770 Winchester Road in Temecula.
You're listening to KCAA Loma Linda at 106.5 FM, K293CF Moreno Valley.
And welcome back. You are tuned to NBC Radio, KCAA, 1050 AM, 102.3 FM, 106.5 FM, or again, you can listen from anywhere in the world at kcaaradio.com. This is Viewpoint with Father John. I am your host, Father John Reed. And how you doing over there, Frank? He's been getting these shots from COVID and everything, so he thinks he's a big shot now and all that. How you feeling, buddy?
Hey there, Father John. I felt like Mike Tyson punched me.
Yeah, well, I hit hard like he does.
Did you really?
Yeah, some
you got him shy now.
Some of the shots hurt, don't they?
Yeah, I didn't feel it. And then I got home. I'm like, I got out scot-free. I didn't feel the pinch or anything. And then an hour later, I'm like, my arm hurts. I couldn't even touch it. But it's so worth it. It's so much better than getting COVID. So,
amen to that, brother.
So I'm more than happy to get the bruises. And it sounds like this next dose might make me feel a little queasy for a while, but that's fine with me.
That's okay. You should have an ex-girlfriend of mine's cooking. You really know what queasy is. Anyhow. If you're listening, I really meant it. So, anyhow, yeah, he talked about the soreness from the shot, and I didn't have it that day. The next day it was a little sore. The third day, the bruise showed up, and I still have the bruise, and so.
Arnica.
Yeah, I think really, Gabby gave me one of those Hertz donut. Hertz donut. So,
Hi,
anyhow.
Gabby.
She's sitting on the other side of the studio there. So,
shooting in Texas.
and so anyhow, yeah, pray for the people in Texas. There's a lot going on in Texas. But anyhow, so you're talking about this program. Tell me a little bit about it.
Okay.
Describe it a little bit.
So it's going to be online, like I said, and we're going to have different workshops there. The first one is a 12-week transformation program.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that one's called How to Be a Badass. But it's a 12-week transformation program,
Okay.
which it comes with meditation and more than anything with action steps.
Okay.
I think it's very important when we give the action steps. So your clients, your customers, the people know exactly what to do. Not everyone knows what to do. So what we do, it's good step at a time. Let them know what they have to do, and they have action steps, and then we talk about it. We will
Right.
have a session of what we talk about it. How did that make you feel? How did you feel with that? And we're going to have forgiveness workshops as well.
Good.
Okay. And then we're also going to do the hero's journey. That's one
Okay.
of the things that I'm going to do with Diana. That's a great,
The hero's
great-
journey, right.
Yeah. We did that with you, didn't we?
Yes,
do
you
that
did
with
that
you?
with me.
Yeah. And so different workshops that allow us to go within and expand our awareness and be able to glow.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm hearing you correctly, is there sort of a journaling process that goes on during
Absolutely,
this so that they can keep
absolutely.
track of their growth?
Yes, and what I will do also with the program, I will give them the forms as well. They will be able to go through my website, download the forms, and then they will send it to me through the website.
Some of
It's
you are-
very, very, yes, there you go.
Some of you on Facebook can see the website right now.
Uh-huh.
So those of you who are just listening on the radio later, go to the YouTube and you'll see that.
Yes,
Hey, that's a great photo of you.
thank you. Thank you. And they get a free book. Once they sign up, they get a free book.
Good.
You know, you go down and there's the button to subscribe, and it will give you all the information, and I will send them the free ebook. And if they don't have my Love Heals book, they also get it for free.
Oh,
I will
nice.
send it to them. Yes,
That's a great book,
It's
by
an
the way.
ebook. Yes, so it has taken me 6 months because I want it to be well done. I didn't just want it, just throw something in there. I really want to work with the people and help them grow and glow.
Well, the preparation is very important because
Mm-hmm.
if you don't have the preparation, then everything is by chance, not by science.
Mm-hmm.
And so it sounds like you're trying to put some science to this that,
Mm-hmm.
The cause and effect. You do this and you get this effect.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because, Father John, it's not just about what we know, because we all know how to do many different things, but we don't do them.
Right.
Right? And let's go back to the weight, like you were saying at the beginning. Everyone knows how to lose weight. Everyone knows that you drink more water and you drink less sodas or less that, but no, we don't do it. Why? How come we don't do it? And that's what we're trying to learn here, to go into the subconscious mind and really go within, why don't I do what I know that I should? Why do I keep doing the same things over and over? Why do I keep attracting the same relationships, the same boss, the same? You end up, it's like a vicious cycle. And that's what we're trying to do here, to go within to understand why, so we could consciously make a different choice. Do we
Right.
have to go again?
Exactly. No. Part of what you're talking about is, brings to mind, I've seen, and I know I've done this in my own life, where I set myself up to fail. And so I get everything ready to go. And I make these impossible goals that there's no way I could do. And I get into it with everything I have. And then within a few days, because I hurt so bad, because I didn't see results in 3 days, I quit. And then I'm worse off than when I started. And I see a lot of people do this with extreme diets, with
Yes.
extreme exercise ideas. You don't start off running marathons.
No.
Start off walking. And then if you decide you want to jog, but start off walking. And I think part of that comes from the idea that we put a great face on, our game face, so to speak, but inside we feel so lowly about ourselves that we think just to be average, we really have to overdo things. And so that's why we set ourselves up to fail. And if I'm hearing your program correctly, what you're doing is you're starting at the beginning with good actions for starting that can be built upon. And then as you grow, you're able to incorporate more. You don't have to put it all at the front end
No.
and then just be laying in bed saying, I failed.
No, and that's why the first program that you will take, it's the 12-week transformation program.
Right.
Because that will allow you to continue with the next classes and the next programs, because we are going through the why, first, why are you here? And then really analyze where you are at, therefore we could continue. And I believe also that right now, society, it's so used to that we want everything done right now.
Exactly.
We don't want to work for tomorrow. We want to work to get things done right now. And we are never going to achieve anything that way.
Well, we're in a fast food society.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
and you know, we're also the society, the culture of preservatives, because we don't want to have to think about what we're doing. We just want to know it's in the cupboard. I'll just grab it, and it's on the. I could do it on the way. And if you look at how culture was before we got so good with preservatives and all these GMOs, people were healthier.
Absolutely. And they ate a lot of meat and a lot of those things, but they would the good quality stuff.
It didn't have preservatives. And a lot of people don't realize one reason people gain so much weight with corn syrup is it turns off the part of your brain that says you're full. That's what, I'll probably get a note from McDonald's and some of these other places, but that's one of the problems with the fast foods is they use a lot of corn syrup, and that's why you see people eat Big Mac after Big Mac after Big Mac, and you can't figure out, aren't you full? Their brain doesn't know because the chemical has turned that off. And so that's why they keep eating. And also, diet soda does that to you as well.
Yeah, that is sort of not good.
It's not good for you. And so what we're talking about, if I'm hearing you correctly, is doing things more natural.
And one step at a time.
One step at a time, and things where you have concrete things you could look at.
Yes. And that's why the first thing that I always tell my clients, I don't have a magic pill. Don't think that I'm going to hear and, okay, we're done. No, there's no magic pill. We are doing the work. It's going to take time.
Yeah.
But if we keep going, we're going to get there. And I believe that it's one day at a time.
Yes.
You know, today I got up and I felt great. And tomorrow I might wake up and feel like, oh, my God. But that's when we want to do the work. In those days that I look myself in the mirror, I'm like, oh, my God, there you go, another wrinkle. That's when we want to do the work, not when we are feeling well, because it's easy to love someone that's nice to you.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
The problem and the key comes when we really want to send love to the person that's not nice to us. That's when the true work comes.
And sometimes we're that person who doesn't treat us well. And it's hard to learn to love us
Most
that
of
way.
the time.
Yeah.
We listen to the voice that criticizes us all the time instead of the one that says, come on, you could do this.
Exactly.
Right? Come on.
Exactly.
One more dollar, and then you'll get there. Or one more glass of water, whatever.
Yeah.
One more book. We want to be smart without reading. We want to lose weight without eating healthier or exercising.
I'm glad you said you don't have a magic pill, and I'll tell you why. Some years back, I really was trying to lose weight. I really was, and I was sincere about it. And I went to one of those medical weight loss places.
And they give you a pill.
Yeah, they did. They gave me a few things to speed up the metabolism, and every week I get a shot of B12 to keep me going. And I lost weight until I stopped their program, and then I put on twice as much weight than what I started with, because really what was keeping the weight off was they were putting the stuff that pharmaceutical speed is basically what it was. I mean, I wasn't getting high off it, but it, at one point they had taken my blood pressure and they said, you shouldn't be on this. You have really high blood pressure. And they took my blood pressure when they first put me on it. And when they signed me up, they said, oh, yeah, they would crush this up and put it in a baby's bottle if they could. But, yeah, and so when I quit because of, they said you're headed for a heart attack, I put on twice as much weight than when I started. And a physician friend of mine told me why, because, you only lose weight as long as you have that in you speeding everything up. And when the body doesn't have that, well.
Yeah, see, because we are not taking care of what the brain in a healthy way to make the right choices.
Right, exactly.
Right? It's like, what did I do? I went to do speed, which is, the drug to make me lose weight, instead of taking the time to learn about it, make the right choices and do it the right way, because we want everything done now.
Want it done now.
We want everything done now.
And looking for that easier, soft way is what kills us. And where I lost 50 pounds was, I give soda up completely, but started walking. Did with walking. I do push-ups too. I enjoy doing that. And that's to deal with some other medical stuff I deal with. But that's where some of the stuff started changing. And, there was someone who used to say, it's not what you're eating, it's what's eating you.
Yes.
And I find that self-talk leads me to what I'm going to eat. Now I really don't care for fast food. And I'm not putting them down. I'm just saying I don't like how I feel
That's right.
when I eat it. But it took me getting away from that to find out I don't like how I feel when I have that.
Yeah, it's making the right conscious choices. I think those are the two keywords, unconscious and conscious.
Yes.
When we truly are conscious of our unconscious choices. And that's a hard one.
Yes.
That's not an easy task, because we don't want to feel the pain. We don't want to pay attention to what we're doing. It's easy to pretend.
Yes.
And I was just talking to my friend Diana right now. It's like, yeah, that's the easy way to pretend. And that's also an illness. Ugh,
It is.
it's an illness.
Sometimes we just need to check up from the neck up, and find out what these things are, these thoughts that really is self-assassination. It's not suicide, but
Yeah.
and the reason I say it's not suicide is because you're killing someone you don't even know yet.
Yeah, and to understand that we can do this alone. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to do it
Right.
together. And it's wonderful to have a place to support each other and say, hey, this is how I feel today. And then have someone to say, well, me too, but let's change that in a positive way, not pretending that everything's okay.
And when you form a tribe of people with the same kind of goals, you can help spur each other along during that, like you're saying. But because you do have a number of people there and you're not doing it alone, it inspires you that, well, if they're not going to quit, I won't quit either.
Yeah, and that's what, Badass and Gorgeous, a place to grow and a place to glow.
Yeah. And, I like the concept behind it. I also like the fact that you have meditation.
I love
You know,
meditation.
We live on 3 levels at all times, physical, emotional, and spiritual. To starve anyone is to starve all 3. You take a 3-legged stool, take one of the legs away, what happens?
Yep.
You're falling
Stumble.
over. So it sounds like you're doing physical, emotional, and spiritual.
Yeah, because I don't believe that we could grow if we take care of one alone.
And I want to make a clarification for some people who might be listening that may not understand this. When we're talking meditation, we're talking spirituality, not religiosity.
Correct.
And I just
Yes.
want to throw it in there so that people don't get the wrong idea and think that they have to join a church for this.
Absolutely.
People
No.
from all walks of life, some people call it meditation, some people call it mindfulness.
Yes.
It's 2 names for the same thing.
Yeah, and a lot of my clients like to call it mental rehearsal.
Mental rehearsal.
Yeah, that's what we call it. That way we don't get interfered with any other religion, but it's just a mental rehearsal, because what we are doing is we are rewiring the brain.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because the Blue Angels, the pilots for Navy that do all the air shows, in between shows, they do mental practice where they all sit around the table and they mentally go through the flight
Yes.
and even do the different sounds for the thing. And that's part of their preparation. And if you see how they fly, it is so perfect. But a big part of it is these sessions they have almost daily where they sit with their eyes closed around the table and they're practicing in their mind what the flight is.
Yes.
And if I'm hearing you correctly, that's a little bit of what's going on here.
Absolutely. And what we do also, I have a personalized mental rehearsal of meditation, whatever makes you feel well. And what I encourage them to do, I write it for them. They don't have to worry about that. It's already written for them. And what I encourage them, it's for them to record it in their own voice. Record it and
Right.
then listen, because we want to learn to listen to our own voice. We want to feel comfortable with our own voice. Instead, I mean, it's good because I do have meditations that I listen from other people, but when you record it with your own voice, it starts to grow that confidence in you that, okay, I could listen to myself. I could trust myself, because not many of us trust ourselves. And that's why when we make more mistakes or do unconscious choices that are not so good for us, because we don't trust ourselves.
When you typed it, did you type it slowly for people like me who don't read fast?
That's right.
Okay,
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Speaking of reading fast, we're up to our next commercial break, and I don't like what Frank wants me to read through the window there, but you're listening to Viewpoint with Father John, and my guest tonight is Martha Bass, and we'll be back in 90 seconds.
The loss of a loved one is one of the most challenging experiences in a person's life. It's hard to know where to turn to make your loved one's final arrangements. Jesse Ruiz at Personal Funeral Planning in Ontario will treat you and your loved one with the respect you deserve. Jesse served in the Marine Corps in Desert Storm and understands what it takes to provide loyal, personalized, and empathetic service to those who need it most. The families of Michael Jackson, Brittany Murphy, Ed McMahon, and many others have trusted Jesse to provide them with the highest level of service and support. To work with Jesse, call 909-762-4027, 909-762-4027, or visit their website, www.4pfp.org, www.4pfp as in personalfuneralplanning.org. Jesse Ruiz and Personal Funeral Planning, veteran-owned and operated, helping you plan a personal, lasting tribute for your loved one. www.4pfp.org.
The Tri-City Shopping Center in Redlands is serving up some really cool ice cream at La Micho Acana. Then get your chocolates and other delights from C's Candies. Moms and future moms who visit the mall can cool off and relax while they get treated like royalty at Shiny Nails or Francis Nails and then pampered at Texture Hair. The Tri-City Center is filled with retailers who care about you. Shop at the Tri-City Center in Redlands and see why they call it the Mall with a Heart.
And welcome back, friends. You are tuned to NBC Radio, KCAA, 1050 AM, 102.3 FM, 106.5 FM, or you can listen from anywhere in the world at kcaaradio.com. This is Viewpoint with Father John. I am your host, Father John Reed. And again, my guest this evening is the one and only Martha Bass, who, in addition to having Love Heals and her coaching through that, she's just kicking off a new program called Badass and Glorious, and Gorgeous, glorious.
It could be glorious too. Finding the glorious within.
I was thinking of my haircut that Sam gave me. Anyhow, yes, I learned how to read last week. Anyhow, but we're talking a little bit tonight because it goes into the spirituality we talk about here so often about life being an inside job. You have to live from the inside out, not the outside in. And that's sometimes hard to remember because we live in a society that's so much about appearances. And there's a lot of people who are walking around smiling on the outside while dying on the inside.
Yes.
And you can
especially right now.
Yeah, and you can only do that for so long before it all falls apart. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I wanted you to talk a little bit about what you're doing, because it's building the inside. And from that solid structure, then the outside presents itself as it really is, not how you are trying to make people think it is.
Yeah, otherwise it's like when you buy a beautiful red apple in the market, right? Mm-hmm. And you see it so nice and juicy, and then you bite it, no flavor. We become like that, and that's what we don't want. We want to bite the apple and be so nice and tasty and delicious and crunchy, and that's what we want to do. You know, I'm never going to forget Wayne Dyer. Do you remember Wayne Dyer?
Yeah.
And he used to say, when you squeeze an orange, 100% of the time you're going to get orange. You're never going to get lime juice or lemon juice or anything, right? And that's how we behave. If we are a happy person from inside within, and we feel comfortable and happy and are enjoying life and helping others and all of that, we're going to smile and be a nice person. When we are angry and have resentment and guilt, that's when we're going to mistreat and judge others,
Right.
because we're never going to squeeze, right? So we have to understand when someone's not behaving, that's how they are feeling.
No, the only reason I look nervous is, last time I talked to a lady with an apple, look what happened. Eve really did us in, It reminds me that Adam and Eve.
You always do this to me.
Adam and Eve were talking one day, and Eve's really mad at Adam. Says, "What is it?" She says, "You've been seeing another woman." He says, "There are no other women." He says, "Yeah, let me count your ribs." So yeah, there's always that. There's always that. Remember,
Oh, God, I forgot what we were talking about.
This is used in a complete sentence, kids. Well, we're talking about building the inside, so the outside really reflects what's real, not what's an illusion.
Yes, and how we do that? By prayer, by meditation. I truly love God.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why my business is called Love Heals, because I'm talking about that energy of love, that higher frequency that truly heals. And how, if you talk about Mother Teresa, right?
Right.
Or Nelson Mandela, all of those people, what did they have? Love.
Mm-hmm.
The forgiveness and the, compassion, like my friend Diana loves that word. Like all those, it's just an essence of love. Well, it's an essence of love, and we want to be love, to be able to reflect love.
One of the things that Mother Teresa said is, when you judge people, you don't have time to love them.
That's right.
And I think that's true about ourselves. When we judge ourselves, we don't have time to love ourselves either.
And we judge others, we're judging ourselves, because we are one. And I know that a lot of people may conflict with this because, what do you mean we are one? But we are truly all connected.
Every spiritual system says that. Mm-hmm. They're in agreement with it. Mm-hmm. And so if it was just one religion that said it, I'd say, okay, well, maybe that's kind of... Every single spiritual system has that same base belief. If you look to the tenets of their belief, and including our Native American brothers and sisters, they truly believe that we're all part of the web that makes the universe.
Yeah.
And you can't mess with one strand without feeling it on another strand.
I know, isn't that amazing? It's just amazing. Amazing.
When you talk about the love actions, my friend Chuck Chamberlain, Richard Chamberlain's father, the actor, Chuck had a lot to do with me becoming a priest. And he used to say, if he were to define the word love into one word, that word would be action. You do things for those you love because you want to, for free and for fun. You don't barter, you just do it. No strings attached. Well, I think that goes to us as well.
Absolutely.
That love is an action word. Mm-hmm. It's a verb, not a noun. Mm-hmm. And so we take that action, and as a result of the actions, we then get the feeling that we've been looking for. But you don't get the feeling first, ever. You have to take the action first.
That's right. Yeah, and we want the feeling first, and it doesn't happen that way.
No.
And, at the beginning, when I started reading and going into all this work, like 20 years ago, in my mind, I wouldn't understand, what do you mean I don't love myself? Of course I love myself. And then it dawned on me, like, no, if I have my son, I don't want him to do particular things, right? That I'm doing.
Right.
Right? And I don't want him to do that because I love him and I want him to be, and I'm, okay, wait, but I'm doing it. So what does that mean? That I'm truly not loving myself.
Right.
And that's when I'm like, yeah, so it does come with an action. Because if we're not doing it for ourselves, that's the answer. I am not loving myself. I'm not taking the action. I want him to do the things, but I don't want to do them myself. Then there you go.
It's funny. Years ago, there was a minister I used to help write some of his sermons over at the Claremont Church. And he'd gained weight. He says, ever since I gained this weight. I hate myself. And without thinking, I was just a teenager when I said, I said, no, you hated yourself before you gained the weight. It's just, this is evidence of it. I said, so maybe if you start loving yourself, you'll treat yourself better with healthier food and stuff. And he was mad for the moment, but he put it in his next sermon. And you know what? He never did give me credit.
He didn't quote you.
He deserved to be fat.
But yeah, we want to love ourselves once we're thin, once we have the money, once we owe something, and now it comes first.
Right.
We just have it backwards. We want to create that shift and understand how that works so we can make a change.
Well, we're always postponing our happiness.
Right.
You know,
and maybe tomorrow never comes. Ooh.
Yeah, if I will be happy when I finish this course. I'll be happy when I get my degree. I'll be happy when I have this level of success. And if you're not happy now, you're not going to be happy then.
And that's why gratitude is extremely important.
Yes.
And we also have a gratitude class because gratitude, we want to be grateful now for what we have. How else are we going to have something else? I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I was just thinking, it was Austin Ripley who said, gratitude is the silver platter upon which we offer to others what's been so lovingly given to us.
I like that. Yeah, I got to write that down. Can you tweet it, please?
I have dementia. I don't even remember what I said.
Yeah, gratitude, it's amazing. Gratitude, yeah. As a matter of fact, in my bed, on my nightstand, I have a purple rock that a friend gave me. And she says, this is, I want you to every night remind yourself of all the, the gratitude that you have, what you're grateful for. And I have it right there. It's a beautiful purple rock. And it just reminds me, that's right, I have to be grateful. I want to be grateful. I am grateful.
One of the things I do, speaking of gratitude, and I have a lot of my counseling clients do this, every night I write at least 3 things I'm grateful for. It could be more than 3 things, but no less. And it can't be the same thing 2 nights in a row. And that's how we rewire our brain. And that way, when I go to bed, I have gratitude on my mind. Because the way our mind works, and I'm saying this because I think this goes right into what you're doing with your program. Science has discovered that when something negative happens, it's like Velcro, it sticks to our brain. When something good happens, if we don't consciously think about it for at least 15 seconds, it goes away like we never even saw it. So by writing the gratitude things at night, it causes it to stick to the brain. You're actually rewiring the brain, and you can see it with medical tests, with CAT scan, where it's rewiring the brain towards gratitude instead of all the negativity. And when you're in gratitude, you naturally do healthier things.
Yes, and the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, loves gratitude. Love gratitude. And when we are surrounded by that energy, then you attract the same thing. It's impossible to have a nice, beautiful gratitude energy and then attract something negative. I'm not saying that bad things are not going to happen, but you are surrounded by the beautiful white energy that is love and gratitude and compassion and kindness.
Well, one of the things I wrote in my book.
And it's healing.
Yes, is that you are what you're giving away. If you're giving away hate, you're hate. If you're giving away love, you're love. And however you want your day to go, be giving that away.
Yeah.
Because it's impossible to give it away and not receive it back. It just, that's...
life, whatever you put out comes back to you.
Yeah.
It's simple,
It's
but
going,
we make it hard.
it's going through you. Joseph Campbell used to say, it's like having an invisible set of hands when you follow your bliss. They're right there supporting you. Just right there.
Yes. I love that we always end with gratitude. Yeah, that's a peaceful way to end.
It always is. So let's talk a little bit about how people can get a hold of you for some of these things.
Yes. So you go to marthabest.com, which is very simple, And once you are on the website, you could register to get the free book, and it will put your name and your email address, and that will give me your information. Okay, and then I could send you the link for anything else. If you are ready to sign up for Bad and Gorgeous, you go all the way down, and there's the PayPal button where it says subscribe. And once you put that, then it will give you all the information to follow.
Frank, how come you're putting my credit card information in there?
And my telephone number, everything it's in there. So, but if you just subscribe for the free ebook, then I will send you all the information.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's simple.
Sounds like an exciting program.
It is.
really
I'm
does.
very, very excited for it.
You look
Yeah.
excited about it.
I am. And, I'm literally giving it away because I truly want to reach a lot of people. I don't want money to be the excuse that you cannot do it, because the excuse that we have today is the same excuse that we're going to have tomorrow and the next day and the next day.
Exactly. And that forms the pattern. Again, you're wiring your brain that way to say, I can't succeed.
That's right.
And if I'm hearing you correctly, you're saying, no, that's not true. We're going to change the software.
Yeah.
And we're going to take out the virus software and put in good programming so that the system is working at an optimal level.
Absolutely. $25 a month. What is $25 a month? We spend that with things that sometimes don't even matter.
Wait a second. My latte matters. I don't care what you say.
Well, I'm talking about the beer.
Beer, right, yeah. but that latte, it matters. I have to have that, I work for lattes.
There you go. I know what to get you next time with the cheesecake.
Yeah. Oh, no, we weren't supposed to talk about the cheesecake yet. But it's, one of the few joys a diabetic is allowed is cheesecake. And
Oh, I forgot.
yeah.
Oh, okay, Gabby, you're going to have to eat it.
So, but seriously, it sounds like this is an opportunity for people to opt in for success
Yes.
instead of finding reasons why life isn't working.
Mm-hmm.
And all of us need help in getting life to work.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we're all put here and we're all trying to figure out where the manual is for this thing we call life.
Mm-hmm.
And in order for us, each of us have a page of that manual. And for us to really understand the manual, we all have to come together and find out what's on each other's page so we understand our page.
Yes.
And what you're doing here is helping people put a whole chapter together because you're bringing all the pages together.
And to know that you're not alone.
And you can see, yes.
Yeah.
So there really is a design in this for living that makes it so that we can experience the happiness, the joy, and the freedom
The freedom.
that we were born to experience, but that we got off track with something else. Not for anyone's fault. It's just we got off on the wrong off-ramp. And now we can get back on the right road and get onto the highway of life, which is exciting, which is invigorating, and which gives us adventure. And when you're having adventure, life is good. And you find the goodness in life by doing the very thing I talked about earlier, which is following your bliss. And this is a roadmap to helping you find that bliss. Would that be correct, what you're doing?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's the roadmap. It's the step by step. And most important, to know that you're not alone. Because sometimes when we're hurting, we think that we are the only ones and that everybody else having a wonderful life. And here we are suffering.
So instead of a Thomas guide, we're going to give them a Martha guide.
I love Heels Guide.
Well, we're coming up to our last moment here. And, any final thought you'd like to give our listeners before we...
Yes, just know that you are loved, that you are worth it, and that you already have everything within to succeed. So don't put excuses. Say yes to you today. And I love you. And remember, love those heels.
You've been listening to Viewpoint with Father John. My guest has been Martha Bass. And thank you again for allowing me to come into your home. And if no one told you this week that they love you, let me be the first. And be good to each other. And please, get the vaccine. I like to learn to be able to dance again without a mask. Blessings until next week.
KCAA Loma Linda. Listen on 1050 AM, 102.3 FM, and 106.5 FM.
Medical scientists worldwide are encouraging people to eat more fish. Most American diets are low in cold water fish that are abundant in important omega-3 oils.